News Leak with Johannes, of course, to wrap up the program. How are you, Johannes? It's been a busy week.
It sure has, mate. Very big week.
I want to focus on two of the big issues. I'm going to start off with the domestic issue, the big domestic issue of the week. And that, of course, is Victoria and the pandemic. And I've got cartoons here from yourself and Mark Knight. Here's Mark Knight's take on this. This is just wonderful. The curfew has been lifted, says Daniel Andrews, and the people say, I'd celebrate if something was open. It reminds me of a line our colleague wrote during the week where he said the excuses being made by Daniel Andrews wouldn't pass the pub test if the pubs were open.
Yeah, I read that too and actually thought, wow, that's a cartoon line if ever I read one. But absolutely spot on. But yeah, I mean, look, the place, it's how do you revive something that is completely flatlining? And I mean, Mark has beautifully captured that with just an exquisite drawing of Melbourne. Always goes to so much trouble just in his drawings, and magnificent.
And your cartoon on the same theme is just a beautiful, simple cartoon of Daniel Andrews sitting back with a sign on his desk and says, not the buck stops here, but the buck stops there.
Well, yeah, look, I was trying to capture the image of him that we all saw in this kind of Zoom inquiry session hearing, you know, and there he sat in his blue jacket, and I wanted to really kind of capture exactly that scene, but rather than have him sitting there and politely kind of answering the questions, I wanted to show what he was really thinking, which was, you know, this stuff just nothing applies to me. Blame everybody but me, and I'll apologise. But weirdly, there's an apology seems to be enough rather than, you know, to go that one step further. And I would have thought, you know, accepting blame brings with it sort of other responsibilities. But there you go.
Yeah, I think it was Harry Truman, or it might have been Eisenhower, who said the buck stops here. I had that sign on their desk, and Daniel Andrews is neither one of those. Now, let's have a look again at Mark Knight and yourself looking at the other big international event, the presidential debate, of course. And Mark Knight's got it as a wrestling contest with some rather horrible groping and biting going on between the big beastly Donald Trump and Joe Biden, the challenger. Just wonderful stuff. And you've gone for a boxing contest. And what I love about your boxing contest is you've got each of them beating themselves up, which is spot on. So many people think that both contenders here only damage themselves.
Well, exactly. I mean, we're so used to seeing Donald Trump and Joe Biden when producing or reciting scripted lines, or not really working off the cuff, and certainly not in a raw kind of debate type situation. So, you know, what we did see, I think, was we really got a window into the real Trump and saw a particularly kind of aggressive and domineering sort of side to his character, and Biden also with his sort of bumbling, confused responses and his you know sort of incoherence that he kind of lapsed into at times also revealed very much the real Biden, I think. So I think for both of them, I mean, at the end of the day, it probably was a bit of a draw or a split decision, but not because either of them did particularly well. They just sort of set the bar very low.
Yeah, I do think, though, that a lot of people are going to tune in for the next debate because it was such a train crash. Everyone wonders what's going to happen next. With that cartoon, though, I think you were just wanting to flash back to your comic days. You just wanted to have the sort of Batman thwack, whop, biff. You loved writing that in there, didn't you?
Every opportunity to do that, I'll take it. It's a comic tradition. Nobody did it better than Don Martin from the Mad magazine. But yeah, you can sit there and come up with beautiful sound effects, and it does kind of lift things, I think.